Hey, I'm going to go through some of the answers for your quiz. So I'm not going to do them all, I'll probably do about half of them here. I'm going to try to take 10 or 12 minutes here. So you're welcome to go back and fix these if you got them wrong. Okay, so first thing I noticed that some of us need to do a little better job of, I had like 8 of you turn this in today so far, is to follow directions. It says find the slope of each table or graph. So that's your directions for 1 through 4. And some of you are writing equations and things like that. There's really 2 ways to do this. Okay? We know that we have our change in y over our change in x equals our slope. We also know y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 equals our slope. So I could figure out my change in y. What's it doing? It is going up 6, and I did put the positive there for a reason. You would notice on number 2 it's going down in the y column. And over here, it's going up 2. So my change in y equals 6. And that's over my change in x equals 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. That's my slope, m. The other way I can do this, I can label these x1, y1, x2, y2, and you could pick any point, and then I can use this formula and just plug them in. My y2 is 24, my y1 is 18, and then my x2 is 8. My x1 is 6. So I just follow this formula up here. 6 over 2, of course, it still equals 3. So 2 different ways you could tackle 1 and 2. Number 3. Try to pick spots that go through. So what happened here? I went down 1 and over 2. So remember, when you go down, that means it's negative. Okay, so I went down 1, and then I went over 2. So that's my answer. On 5 and 6, make sure you're answering all these questions. This is a good example of one that'll be on your quiz, where it's going to be worth 5 or 6 points, and some of you might only get a point because you don't answer all the things. So it says, minimum volume of water needed to fight a typical fire in rooms of various sizes. Find the rate of change. Explain the meaning of the rate of change. Okay, so over here I'm going up 39. It's positive. Over here I'm going up 25. So my change in y over my change in x equals 39 over 25. 39 is prime, so you can't reduce this. It also says include units in your answer. So this is our rate of change right here. My rate of change is 39 over 25. What does this mean? Okay, so now I have to use some labels here. So what does this mean? Include units with your answer. Well, I'm going to do both of these kind of together. For every 39 liters of water, you can put out an additional 25 meters squared of floor area. And really, you could say, instead of put out an, you could say you can put out a fire of an additional 25 meters. And that's what it means. So do the same thing here on 6. 7, it says balance on when you're purchasing a bike. Rate of change, explain the meaning, units. So 6 and 7 are exactly like 5. Find the slope. We already did these on 1 and 2, but I will do one more. Label. So this is one where I should see some work. x1, y1, x2, y2. I have -3 minus 3 over, and then I have my x2 minus my x1. 5 minus -7. So show your work that you're simplifying here. I have -6. These two become positive. So really, I have -6 over 5 plus 7. -6 over 12. You need to reduce this. That's a part, if you go back to our first day's notes, it talks about reducing your fractions. So don't stop here. It says, is the slope positive, -0, or undefined? So I'll do 10. Right? You need to pick a spot where they're going through. Makes it easiest to do. So we are going down 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going down 4, which means it's a -4. And I'm going over 1, 2, 3. Going over 3. So I have a slope of a -4/3. That means it is a negative slope. If you don't remember 11 and 13, hopefully on one of those you're going to be dividing by 0. So if you did some x2 or y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, one of those you're dividing by 0. It says write the slope-intercept form, the equation of the line. So first thing you need to determine is your slope. So in this case, my slope is up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I went up 6 and over 2. So 6 over 2. That gives me a slope of 3. And remember, our B is where you begin. Our M is how you move. If you watch Mrs. Condell's video, M is how we move. So really we're doing 3 over 1. I will also accept 3 there. And where would we begin if we were actually graphing this? We would be starting and beginning at 2. B equals 2. Y equals 3x plus 2. So if you were graphing this, again, where would you begin? You would begin at 2, go up 1, 2, 3, over. And you can also go backwards because 2 negatives equal a positive. So instead of going up, I can also go down and back. So I could go down 3, back 1. Because 2 negatives equal a positive. Another way to work through that. Write the equation given the slope and the y-intercept. Okay, this 19 is a little tricky, but it still does tell you what the y-intercept is. I'll just pick the middle one. Y equals -3/4 x plus, because that b is positive, 7. Over here, this is negative. Need some work here. Find the slope and the y-intercept. It says right here, you may need to solve the equation. This one here is in the wrong order, so you need to switch the order. This one here, I subtract 5x from both sides. So again, we are showing our work. -2y equals -5x plus 12 divided by -2. And these are going to cancel because I have 2 negatives. 5 halves x, and I have -6. And last one here that I will do. Following Mrs. Condell's advice, I'll do 25. It says find the slope and the y-intercept. My slope is 1/2. My y-intercept is a +1. So that b tells me where I begin. And the m tells me how I move. Going up 1 over 2. So I go up 1 over 2. Happens always once a lesson, sorry. Up 1 over 2. And remember, you can always do the opposite here. You can go down 1 and back 2. Down 1 and back 2. And then just sketch a line through it. I'm dragging my wrist today, sorry. Okay, so I've gone through here and done 10 or 11 of these, and you see what kind of work is involved. And I managed to do that in 11 minutes with a lot of talking, so I think in another 10 minutes you could go through and have this finished up. The full answer key on this will come Wednesday at 3 p.m., so you need to be done by then. Have a good day.